Okay, good afternoon, good evening. If anybody wants to talk a lot, you can go to the garden or to the street while the poets read. I like to have an empty, silent space to delight in these fabulous five poets that Johanna Roa, curator, is going to introduce. I cannot pronounce anything. I know that. Yeah? Okay, Papareto has... No. El de la cuerda. Pero ahora déjame presentar a Johanna Roa, curator of Taller Boricua, from the Art Workers Coalition to the present. I will say, I applaud also the fact that Johanna got a lot of very contemporary, several very young women artists. Some are here that were working in the workshop as well. So the emphasis on women of the Taller Boricua means something very special, because Wayback has been presenting the whole year of women's and feminist attitude exhibitions of the cloth, reshaping the sugar, etc. Yeah. So without much ado, I'm going to pass the microphone to Johanna Roa, curator.
Okay, thank you. Hello, good night. I would like to start saying that this exhibition is a dream that come true through a journey of 10 years. I bought a book in Mexico City 10 years ago about Art Workers Coalition, and it has a small note saying that we had a group of Latin Americans in the movement, and that was a note, and I say, oh, that happened, who is that people? And when we met Marcos 2 years ago with Juan, it was like, oh my God, I found the treasure finally. And we started to work at that moment, and finally we had this exhibition. Then I'm really happy and proud, to put on the display a relevant story that built the New York landscape. So thank you, Juan, thank you, White Box, thank you, Marcos, the artists, the poets that are in this exhibition. Today we have an amazing group of poets reading today. So I'm going to introduce you first, Jesus Papoleto Melendez. Raised in New York City, East Harlem, poet, writer. He's one of the founding poets of the New Yorker poetry movement. Thank you so much to be here. I'm going to give you the microphone, and I will give you the...
And I will say
Cool. Thank you.
one more note, Jesus. You are having at this moment, this evening.
No, I'm not having a book launch at the New Eureka Poets Cafe.
He's not having the book launch.
Right. Okay. Let me explain. Okay, I'm supposed to be having a book launch right around the corner, but what happened is my book is not ready. And so we can't have a book launch without the book, because it would be a book launch apology.
I keep sending Instagram saying that you're going to be doubling up.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. It's nice to see you. But so that's what happened. So we postponed it till June, and también había Dune is a little bit under the weather, so we want him to get better. So and plus Gemini is in retrograde, and I don't like that. I don't like that. So
but let me say one more thing on behalf of the curator.
Yes.
Johanna is now also a program developer director, and together we're putting together a new program. This is the first project.
Oh, cool.
It is called New York Artscapes, and it's going to be about expat, expatriate, immigrant communities, and we have already several of them kind of named them in different countries, Latin America, then we'll move to Asia, etc. But we're going to treat Latin America, the Caribbean, Mexico, etc. very specifically, and we're going to have all kinds of things, radio, recordings,
We already
videos,
have
We need that.
video letters, etc. So that's why we move back to the place where in June 10th, I hope that when you read, will be my 50th anniversary of leaving Francisco Franco's army and getting
All right.
us to
Okay.
his
Congratulations.
That's it.
See, there's much to celebrate, and I'm glad, we're doing all these literary events. So anyway, I don't want to waste anybody's time. So what happened is that we were going to print, see, this is the book, this is Hey Yo, and we printed this 10 years ago, which was the 40th anniversary of the publication of the poems that are in the book. So we were going to do the 50th anniversary of that publication, of those poems being published, which is the second edition. So we're still going to do that. We don't have no new poems, we just have more pictures and a new introduction, a new preface, and a new afterword by Vagabond that kicks butt historically. Okay? So we're good. That's June, I believe it's June 8th at the New Eurekan, and I are Gemini, so to me it's all good. It's in Gemini. Okay? And so today I'm going to share a poem with you from my book, Borracho, Very Drunk, Love Poems and Other Acts of Madness. On the cover, this painting is by Jorge Soto Sanchez. And it's called The Bathers. And this book is translated. These are a collection of romantic poems of mine. And about relationships and everything. Not really all about love, but about relationships. It's translated into, all the poems are translated into Spanish, which is like a new thing, New Eurekan poetry translated into Spanish. For the, a Spanish Ablandale people all over the world, And so they're not translated as New Eurekan poems, they're translated into, real Spanish so that everybody can read them all over the world, even people that read, people that speak French but can read Spanish, everybody. So anyway, today I'm going to share a poem called The She of God that I wrote for a friend of mine. And, but I feel blessed to read this to you guys because this poem is very special to me. So here it goes. The She of God. I'll be right back. There is a God, and she is you, Mother. Mother of the artist, mother of the art. Mother rising in son and daughter. Now everyone alive, her child cherished as is water. Who channeled through the liquid space of time into this lake of jagged stone alone. Everyone a woman born. Whose mystery is spirit and penetrates quite easily the perforated threshold of this earth, fecund with the gift of birth, the look of love, obvious as eyes upon her face. No man or woman can escape the essence of this grace that breathes within every living thing that is, and because it is, life as art on earth quite commonly is a natural circumstance of the chance for life itself. Oh, mother, mother poetry and art, while still cradled in the womb, the embryonic man rustles in his sleep. Unborn as yet, he is brave, unafraid of dreams and myths, and is soothed by a lullaby sweetly sung, arising from the angelic voice of his mother's natural love. That from the moment of his birth, having nursed the universes of her breast, and still restless, nevertheless he goes astray and throws himself into the brutally artistic day, openly exhibiting his naked heart. While the mind-stirred eye in its unconsciousness already knows substantially that reality is as elusive as a fleeting moment. The thought upon the lips reclines to rest. That any speck of time exists and in another instant escapes our grip, to be born distinctively anew, somewhere else within someone else equally inexperienced in love and life as you. Within, without, separate and apart, embodied in a band, being matter over mind and having its own soul, he goes with mad ideas of perfectness pounding in his head. In love and in mad pursuit of the great adventure and some kind of peace of mind that there might be within the world today. So he flirts with the flickering flame of fire and desire, and now sees himself and the world from a new, obscure, and pundit point of view where everything's nowhere and everywhere at once, leaving him for dead. He cries out, "Mother, mother, where art thou now?" And consumed within the guilt of every man, he sulks into his open hands, "Why have you forsaken me?" Without so much as a farewell kiss, thus begins descending into his own abyss. But it is she who weeps and thusly sweeps away the remnants of the mundane pain that seems so plainly always in the world today, that would win the cosmic battle for the heart, or were it not for her ever-present form of art, whose love would not betray. Though through time tested, never bent its will to speak of what it would, to express what pain and power is in nature's natural strength that holds him wounded in her arms alone, while in his arms is she with the subtlety of dignity, humility, and godliness, who sheds the tears that pay the price for the bread of art's unrequited sacrifice. Oh, mother of the artist, mother of the art, spiritual creation made flesh, strolling among us in its most purest form, that makes time itself stand still, holding in its own breath, while she gives to life that which death can never take from
And what death can never take from us is a new beginning. It has to die to begin.
Allow me to have Johanna introduce you. But before that, I would also like to say that without the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs and the help we get from NISCA now to administer ourselves, after COVID, we could not present this exhibition and this great puppets.
Louis Elaine Griffin is an artist, writer, and one of the founders of the New York Poets Cafe, retired from teaching English at CUNY Borough of Manhattan Community College.
And a visual artist.
Yeah, she has
Yes.
initiated the New York Poets Cafe Founders Archive project to ensure recognition and study of the cafe place in American art. Thanks for to be with us today.
Thank you for letting me be here. It's like I arrived at a new time, a new making of art, because we met in 1970 or so. The cafe, 71, 72, 73, 74 when we got the cafe.
I was 2 years old.
No, you weren't. You came in as one of the, what was that group you
In
and
fact,
Pedro
I was
used
a
to
zygote.
sing?
I was a zygote, that's what it was.
You and Pedro and Dr. Willie
Dr.
and,
Willie,
and,
who won?
Joe
Joe
used to
Pietri,
sing in the subway.
and Frank
And
Pietri.
Frank,
Yeah.
what was the name of your group again?
The background.
The background?
The background.
You used to do up in the subway.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought it was the motorcycle gang without
And the
motorcycle.
motorcycle gang, yeah, we were the Latin
Without,
Insomniacs.
the Latin Insomniacs.
Motorcycle
They
Club.
laughed at us.
The Latin Insomniacs Motorcycle Club without motorcycles
With no
incorporated.
motorcycles, right.
INC.
Well, and that's when none of us had cars, traveled in the subway always.
We had one motorcycle jacket. We
To
shared.
share, to share. And and you'd come around in the cafe and recite. And that was a time too when here at Second Avenue Station, I used to go down and see the graffiti on the walls, Lavashi Blues, Samo. And Samo, come to find out, was Basquiat, Michel Basquiat. And who knew Michel Basquiat back then? Just somebody.
No, he probably was at the cafe, we didn't even notice.
Didn't even notice him?
Yeah, he was, right?
And there was a painting on the cafe by Basquiat.
Yes,
he would've done it,
it disappeared.
You should have signed it.
No, he should have signed it. We could do the renovation now from it.
Yeah, we should just invite Banksy over to do something.
Really? But
Anonymously at the film.
I used to hang out with the people at Taller. Jorge Soto would come and recite. Marcos would come. Fernando Salicru. Oh, great artist. He did the illustrations for Miguel's first book, Mongo Affair. And I came today expecting to read something, and then I speak to Johanna, and she says, "Oh, what? You in this book?" So I go read this poem that I dedicated to Jorge Soto. Speaking from the underground, I searched from the color of the sky. I dreamed behind my eyes. I saw my reflection there, down in the subway. I read the news on the walls. Samo is a cure for the Blabashi blues. The trains come fast. Flame Dog, Jazzy, Mad One risks his life to paint his name for all to see. He is alive on a welfare check, tagged at the edge where the brain creases, folds in half on the line separating him from me. I remember all the times I thought Azure was a place I might be stepping into or stopping off over some time for a look-see. Still searching now for a color of my own, a more subtle gray, like hothouse madness. I am an underground root, déshabillé before a mirror in hothouse madness. I stripped down one night and found myself naked in a sky of fuchsia suave. And in some ways, that poem is a riff on Pedro's blue was never really blue. Pink was never really pink. Someone was fooling you. Thank you so much.
Okay, Margarita Drago, she's from Argentina, poet, narrator, and professor of Spanish at York College. As an ex-political prisoner and writer, she has represented Argentina in congresses in the United States, Latin America, and Europe. She is the author of Fragmentos de la Memoria, Recuerdos de una experiencia carcelaria. Thank you, Margarita.
Thank you, Joanna. Thank you to all the organizers. And this is an honor for me to be part of this historical place and with these people with such a history. Yeah. Today I'm learning from you. Well, I'm going to read in my mother tongue language, in Spanish. That's the language I write, and because it's the language that I feel, and I have to express all my emotion through my language. Nuestra casa. La casa se llenó de telarañas desde el día fatídico que los hombres armados irrumpieron. Uno a uno fuimos marchando, otros la invadieron. Habitantes sin rostros tomaron posesión de los cuartos, hicieron suyas las camas y las mesas, las sábanas y los manteles, levantaron paredes y tabiques, cortaron de raíz el rosal, el parral, el limonero, y con ellos los sueños de mi padre, mis juegos y mis cantos infantiles. La casa se llenó de escombros, de toldos sobre pilas de ladrillos. Al interior, los mismos muebles en los espacios de siempre. En las viejas paredes, los mismos cuadros, presidiendo la mesa familiar o velando el sueño de los que hoy ocupan nuestras camas. En un rincón del comedor, la antigua Singer, esperando bajo un manto de humedad, herrumbre y polvo, las manos temblorosas de mi madre, para hilvanar entre puntada y puntada sueños, memorias e historias familiares. Mesas, camas, cuadros, retratos, sábanas, manteles, custodios silenciosos de una historia que rehúsa morir, sepultada bajo escombros, telaraña, olvido. This poem is about the same topic. Esa morriña tiene un epígrafe del poeta chileno Nicanor Parra que dice: todo está igual seguramente, el vino y el ruiseñor encima de la mesa. Mis hermanos menores a esta hora deben venir de vuelta de la escuela, solo que el tiempo lo ha borrado todo como una blanca tempestad de arena. Nicanor Parra. Añoro el río donde bañé la risa de la infancia y el gato que me esperaba en el tapial a la salida de la escuela. Añoro la mesa, el mantel, el té, las galletitas, la mano de mi madre hojeando mis cuadernos, a mi padre acariciando al perro que esperaba a las 5 de la tarde su bocado. Pero el río no es el de entonces. Y el gato, por las tapias, se ha perdido. Mamá se fue. No hay quien ojee mis cuadernos. Papá marchó, herido por la pena. Y tras él, el perro en busca del bocado. Y por último, images of this Roosevelt Avenue on Junction Boulevard. Roosevelt Avenue. La calle es un espectáculo circense. Personajes sin máscaras pululan la avenida. Se disputan migajas y espacios de sobrevivencia. Dos cuerpos adolescentes fundidos contra un muro se chupan, se beben, se contornean, ajenos a centenares de ojos indiferentes. 4 jóvenes que no llegan a los 20, minifalda rosada, botas altas de tacón, invitan con gestos cansinos a los lascivos transeúntes. Un viejo con un paso tambaleante sube las escaleras de un edificio tras los pasos de una muchacha que le balancea las nalgas. Carritos con venta de fritura, puestos de verdura y fruta amontonada, gigantescos trozos de lechón humeante dorándose sobre parrillas herrumbradas. La casa se ha llenado de olores, de voces y pregones. El señor de la esquina de la 90, sentado en una silla desvencijada, ofrece un veneno que asegura exterminar cucarachas y ratones. Su pregón se confunde con la prédica amenazante de la mujer que en la otra esquina predice el fin de los tiempos. Una vieja, apostada en un rincón, abre su boca desdentada. Suplica ayuda a una muchedumbre impasible. Sostiene en su mano ruda una lata de café en la que tintinean escasas monedas. Un tren se aproxima sobre el elevado que corta y hiere esta porción de ciudad. El tren se agita, pita fuerte, llevando a cuesta su carga humana. Su alarido mecánico se impone estridente y por un momento acalla tanto pregón y tanta gritería disonante. No hay una grieta por la que se filtre un delgado hilo de luz sobre esta geografía que desconoce la calidez de auroras y crepúsculos dorados. No hay dioses que habiten esta tierra de nadie. Gracias.
Juana Ramos was born in Santa Ana, El Salvador. I currently she lives in New York City, where she is a professor of Spanish and literature at your college at the University of New York City. Thank you, Juana.
Thank you, Johanna, for the invitation, and congratulations for this curatorial project that you have here. Beautiful, important, and needed also. For me, it's also an honor to be here with these wonderful poets who have been making history for decades here in the city of New York. I am going to read also in Spanish because I write in Spanish. I feel like if I am betraying myself when I think of myself writing in English, because English to me is just an instrument to live in this beautiful city. So this poem has the title of Una se cansa, one gets tired. Una se cansa del gesto agrio, de hacer línea para todo, del quejido compulsivo y del alquiler, de buscar semanalmente los encargos, del amargo rictus en el rostro del carnicero al momento de estrellar su filo contra la carne muerta. Una se cansa de la muchedumbre que ocupa los asientos, del nerviosismo de piernas cuando el tren se atasca entre estaciones, del "we apologize for the inconvenience" y del "we thank you for your patience". Paciencia que no hay de otra, no hay manera de salir huyendo, no hay cómo hacerse de aquel cuchillo verde. Una se cansa de insistir en la inicial de su segundo nombre, de insistir en que una es más que un nombre, de explicar cada semestre por qué abolir es un verbo defectivo, del rechinar de dientes que provocan 3 infinitivos en hilera, de la epopeya del ego en las redes sociales, de las grandes corporaciones y los desastres ecológicos, de los ripios y los lugares tan comunes, de la decimonónica manera de decir, de las miradas ni buenas ni malas, simplemente miradas, de pisarle los talones al salario, del sindicato y las cartas al gobernador para mendigar algo que por derecho corresponde, de esperar ansiosamente el retroactivo, del café mediano con leche de almendra y miel, de la misa dominical, de darle la paz al prójimo, del ¿cuántos capítulos te faltan?, de los lujosos condominios a la orilla del East River, por mencionar un ejemplo más o menos asequible en los que nunca viviremos, de la avenida Bedford con sus bares y cafés, de los bares y cafés que comienzan a inundar como sarpullido el este de Williamsburg y su Broadway. Una se cansa de buscar un lugarcito en la redondez de los días, de la máscara sobre la máscara sobre la máscara. Una se cansa, se marchita, muere. Muchas gracias.
Wow, it's beautiful.
I'm with you. That's great. Having you here today. Diana Hitecha Hernandez. Aka Hitecha is a New York poet, born New York poet, born in Puerto Rico, drummer, percussionist, spoken word poet, and author of several collections of poetry. Thanks to be here.
Gracias. It's wonderful to be here and see this beautiful gallery. Oh my God. In my neck of the woods, you know, in our neck of the woods. So happiness. And I know that we're talking about Pedro a lot too these days, right? And he's always in our minds because he had left such an impact on me as a young poet when I met him at the New Eurekan. And, you know, he and Bimbo Rivas and, you know, Miguel Algarin, they just opened up so many passageways for so many people. And so I dedicate this poem to Pedro. Hocus Pocus. It is true that those who suddenly disperse keep us in suspense forever. Rise, table, rise. Oh, Reverend Pedro Houdini Petri hovers somewhere above Mexico and Texas awaiting a drop. Sandwiched in a cloud, Peter Pedro Pietri in a trance caught the lift to the next dimension. Perchance some poet's paradise where reefer and laughter and liquid dreams melt into doo-wop, his national anthem. In Spanglish, sung by his handsome, bad self, reverberating through irregular time. 3 races braided together, a mono superstar exemplifies a future breed, race of the future. And he, a simple condom-throwing, a poem-bearing Joe Poeta Laureata on the Planeta, New York City, when he left town, and said, "Keep my seat warm." Sombrero Zorro stares at you from within those marbleized eyes. Clothed in black, bops into position. Hey man, what's up? I mean, what's going down? I mean, in other words, can you tell me where I could get some cookies, snap, pop? Man, is it ever boring up here? Or can I get a pass for being good? El silencio me está matando. He laughs and laughs and laughs. Okay, I'm gonna do a poem for Willie Correa. It's called Vaya Bayamon. I want to breathe in that lucky soil with you and taste the sands of sweet return. Our long, hungry beaks entering the very air of Coqui. Her ancient sound swells up the night in Bayamon, where river flows to sea and back again. And the music of the congueros keeps turning off my brain. And here in a luxurious embrace within the island of my birth, my New York City heartbeat calms itself from its stormy cacophony, returning to the womb of sea salt sand into a deepening Taino raga in harmonic swirl. Los piquihuyis soak in the sun, foam stone as we dance to the song of Bayamon. In swoon, the music flutters in the sea breeze afternoon. Escoqui, your dark night making waves towards our ancient jazz. Sea that flows to ocean, rivers, palms that motion to the conguero's beat. Our bodies making nonsense stop. And here we fall into a deep restitution. Your rhythmic caress releases us. Vaya, Bayamon. Okay, I don't know what the timing is. I apologize for being late. I had another appointment this afternoon, lingered on. Okay, I'm gonna do one for, where is it? Miguel. That is in Lois's. Griffith's. You have it? Lois Griffith is one of the founders of the New Eurekan, and she and Miguel were like this, attached at the hip, and she brought so many other poets into the realm of Boicua. You have it? Where's it, Miguel? Number 64. Don't look at this picture. Miguel, he used to say, I built this place to pay my dues to the real world, meaning New Eurekan Cafe. Miguel, brother, mother, father, undeniable child of light, illumes. You taught us unbearable truths localized in the realm of the local heart that recalls from within that which clings and gives wing to burnt and burning embers. When we met, you torched beams out of my repose, excavating richness to beckon bold, and from within a coconut shell glows radiant as snow, to touch, to be touched, Boicua, causing ceilings rise, embracing body eye to eye. Unbridled, ugly beauty, yes, let's have another then. Lance, penetrate, word, harden, mango, salsify, pero que, pa eso te puya. Because of you, I loved him. Because you and I loved him, I forgave your jealous sword, as he would bestow upon me affections stolen from you, or so you thought. Wanting every last thing, and what's more, not past tense but present, you remain, gathering all forms of honey extracted from the backbone of the golden misterioso. Azúcate, match point. Being all that your New Eurekanness, macho erector, queen and bee, propeller of poets and magnet to the nights, burning bright. Yet life has a way all its own. Times bittersweet and memories are oft best not masticated but ingested and taken into one's spirit whole, as sweat and spit and dreams allow us to be made a union of. Little tiger butterfly bard, Whiston butterscotch, I sing to you your sweet refrain. La 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 eh. Miguel.
I would like to first say thank you to the poets. That was a remarkable reading. Thank you so much. And at the same time, I believe that Marcos has some words, but there is something that I would like to point out about this exhibition, because going through the archive of the Taller Boricua was an amazing experience, but there is something relevant. Many, many things are relevant, but one is very important today, is even the Taller Boricua was raised in the middle of an enormous violence against the colored people, especially to the New Yorker people. They always answered them with art. They killed people, they killed artists, New Yorker artists, New Yorker people, and they always answered. They created a gallery named Tito. That was the answer when they killed the young artist. And I believe that is important and is remarkable.
Is this working? I want to thank Juan and Joanna for this opportunity to have some of the archives of the Taller Boricua displayed in this organization. I want to thank my board of directors. I want to thank Anita Tufino, who's not here right now. I don't think she is. And the artists from the Rafael Tufino printmaking workshop that worked on this portfolio here, based on the nationalist women who history forgot. these were the women who fought along with Pedro Albizu Campos for the liberation of Puerto Rico. Well, first of all, this organization is 54 years old. We started back in 1968 and created the Taller Boricua in 1969. I was part of the Art Workers Coalition, which was a general artist organization that fought against the Vietnam War and fought to get inclusion of Puerto Rican and black artists in most of the museums. And thereby we protested and picketed the museums. We picketed the Museum of the Metropolitan Museum on the basis that they had an exhibition called Harlem on My Mind, which they didn't include any of the contemporary black artists. So we picketed them. We picketed the Museum of Modern Art in various instances. I had some photographs over there, one that I took in one of the demonstrations where the art workers used guerrilla theater as a protest vehicle. We were protesting the exhibition of the Surrealist movement back in 1968 at the Museum of Modern Art. Why we were protesting that? Because originally the Surrealist movement, Dada and Surrealism, was an anti-war movement that sprung out after the First World War in Europe. And the Art Workers Coalition was an anti-war movement against the Vietnam War. So that's why, so anyway, that is the genesis of what eventually became the Puerto Rican workshop at Taller Boricua. And this is some of our archives showing 54 years of existence. Thank you.
And one thing that Marcus didn't say is that they requested a free access day for the working classes, and today you got a little bit of a one evening free in every museum. That's thanks to the Art Workers Coalition.
Also, we were involved in getting the State Council on the Arts to set up a department to fund community cultural groups. Before that, there was no funding for the community cultural groups.
And here we is.
Yeah, and here, that's part of the legacy that we are living now.
Before the poets move, any question, any comments? Before you have a Bud Light in the garden? No? Yes?
Well, I would like to congratulate my friends, all except you, but I know Mariterna said hello. Mariterna me dijo que te dijera, que te saludara.
Gracias.
Esta mañana. But I know them, I was part of I was a good friend of William, and I used to help them out at the cafe. And I want to welcome your gallery to the Lower East Side, to Lower East Side, because there's a movement of spaces opening up. There's a place called Piraguas on 10th Street. There's La Sala de Pepe on Avenue C. There's Lower East Side Center, the Poets Cafe, and then now this space. And there's a revival. We are fighting the amnesia for people that do not realize that we've been here for a long time, that we were a strong community, that there's a lot of art and music happening in this community. It wasn't only drugs. It was a lot of working class people, a lot of artists producing art for the people and by the people. And, I will welcome you to the community with this initiative. And I think this is the first time that El Taller Boricua migrates to
Down south.
no?
We had exhibitions at the New York Poets Cafe.
Okay.
Various exhibitions. I survived Willie Correa was one of the curators of one of the exhibitions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good. But anyway, I'm glad that we have this.
And
we have this.
not only that, with the New Rican Village,
The New Rican.
New Rican Village, we also worked with him, Jorge and Nestor worked with
Eddie Figueroa.
Eddie Figueroa,
And what
right.
about Charas too, right?
Yeah. And Charas, we participated in
University
Charas.
Streets,
Yeah.
all these places.
Mhm. So we've been here.
And welcome.
There's nothing new. Everything is new
Welcome.
again.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome to my side.
Yeah, yes, and I was a baby of that terrible thing we call the East Village, right? Which across the street was 2B, the gas station, which a lot of poets and people, maybe some of you, read, right? Where the Duane Reed is now, it used to be 2B, the gas station. Yeah.
Right,
At 2B, by a guy from Buenos Aires and a guy from Madrid. Across the street, right there in that direction.
Now it's
Northwest.
a beautiful development, very expensive. It's happening there now. But I think we should also mention Carlos Osorio,
Definitely.
one of the founders, an incredible individual, a good friend of mine too. I used to go and visit him when the taller estaba in the second floor on Park or Madison.
That's the first location in Madison.
Madison.
110th Street.
And the other people that used to be Davo, little Davo
Cruz.
Davo Cruz, and all the people that passed by. I was like part of the hanging around and just soaking what they were doing. You know what I mean? And I'm proud that I saw the development of the and the work that they did in those days.
Terrific. So for your knowledge, we're about to spend 3 years during COVID at 121st Street and 3rd Avenue in a firehouse. And we created a firehouse lit lounge with Erwin Torres, Raul Zamudio, and myself. And for the opening, Pablito came with the Dizzy Gillespie Afro-Cuban jazz band, and that firehouse you read. I have the video, if you don't remember.
Oh, I should see it.
Is it? You go to White Box Facebook, and
White Box.
yeah, that was March 2019. We created Firehouse Lit Lounge, this is part of it, as a matter of fact. Yeah, and the firehouse is around the corner in an event. So anyhow, we spent 3 years there, and the last thing we did at the People's Church with the deacon and the family, we put together. Raul Zamudio and myself curated Drugs and Art, the Oxycontin song. And, a lot of people came over to talk about their experiences with Mount Sinai professionals and ex-addicts, etc. So we decided to come down here, being a non-profit alternative space in our 24th year. We began in Chelsea, and then we went to Broome Street. We work with the Asian communities and Latino communities. And I decided to kill myself one of these days. My 50th anniversary is June 10th, as I said. I'd like to spend the next 10 years. We have a lease right here. And Johanna will be making noise with, as I said, with the New York Artscapes. I hope you guys put yourselves on the mailing list back there. And don't be strangers. But thank you so much, poets, because without poetry, oh Jesus, I don't know what to do. And by the way, I would like to honor Juan Ramon Jimenez, because out of every place in the Americas, he decided, after going to Harvard and Massachusetts and write fucked up poems about those people up there, he went to Puerto Rico. You know that? And he was teaching at the university. Juan Ramon Jimenez. To me,
Along with Pablo Casals.
Pablo Casals and Juan Ramon Jimenez, yeah. The difference was Pablo Casals had big dogs, and Juan Ramon Jimenez had a beautiful wife. The difference between a Catalan and Andalusian.
Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. We invite you to enjoy the exhibition. You will find the Taller Boricua's archive, prints, original. The prints that are in the beginning of the exhibition were made by the initial group of the Taller. And in the rear of the space, you will find younger artists who have been part of the Taller in different moments.
And Bud Light is in the garden.
It's in the garden.
Homage to the Republican DeSantis and Company, Texas boys. You can drink all you want in the back garden. Straight Budweiser or Bud Light?